Hey there, everyone. It's the second episode of the Untitled Game Design Podcast. This is Rafael Rodriguez,
And this is Ethan Butler.
and today we're going to have a small discussion on what is Minecraft. Ethan, do you want to take it off?
God, when did Minecraft come out? Like 2012, 20... It was in development since like 2008. God damn. It is an old game and it's one of the most popular games in the world still to this day.
It is. To be exact, the full release date was May 17th, 2009, for reference. At that time, I think I was still in elementary school.
Yeah, same.
I remember my friends were talking about it in grade 4, and I was like, yeah, Minecraft! I didn't know what the hell they were talking
Oh no.
about.
How I found out about Minecraft was my friend Noah back in middle school was really into it, and that's the first time I
Mm,
found out about it.
yeah.
And he was showing me the release of the End Dimension and the Ender Dragon, and I was just like, "What the hell was this? This looks horrible," because I didn't realize that like models were blocky on purpose. So
You didn't realize the aesthetic was voxel.
no, because I had only seen the Ender Dragon at that point, and I was just like, "What the what? This is ugly as hell, man."
This is the Crash Bandicoot looked better than this. Come on,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's all cubes,
it's all cube.
little cube.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Minecraft is obviously one of the most popular games to ever exist. As we know, it's a game that's been out for over a decade now,
Mhm.
and is still going strong, right?
Yeah.
So what makes this game popular? What is this gameplay loop that is just inherently addictive? Do you have any ideas on that?
I mean, the endless replayability of Minecraft is a good starting point for it, and it really
Mm-hmm.
works in the game's sort of favor, but I also feel like that, for me personally, also it impairs the gameplay design of Minecraft in some of its other features.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So obviously we've both played a lot of Minecraft, I
Yeah.
feel, right? Being part of that generation of kids who grew up with Minecraft YouTube content.
Mm.
Uh, as you said, Minecraft is inherently limitless
Yeah.
in the sense that the worlds are, unironically, quite massive and almost infinite per se,
Mm.
right? But you're saying that the infinite size of Minecraft is inherently limiting. How so?
It's less of the infinite size, but more the concept that the devs kind of push for infinite gameplay, essentially. The idea that you never
The
run out of things to do. You can always build new things. You can always go explore new biomes. I find that this gives the game a very heavy lack of direction versus something like Terraria, which also has these. The worlds aren't quite as big, but they are designed to again randomly generate, and you are able to have
Mhm.
kind of many different play sessions of it and different worlds. But how Terraria differs is that it has a lot more focus, not on a narrative essentially, but on sort of a progression system and getting stronger and the world increasing with you. In Minecraft, there really is a lack of that. There's no direction, which is nice and liberating, but if there's a lack of direction with not much to do, sure, I can build anything I want, but what is the point of it?
Mm. It's the idea of being thrown into a sandbox
Hmm.
and then given all these tools and not necessarily knowing what to do with the tools, correct?
Yes.
Right? So then what are the main appeals of Minecraft? Personally, I think the idea of exploration, like that exploration gameplay loop as you first start up Minecraft. So let's start with let's imagine for a second the starting first time playing Minecraft. What is exactly they're gonna do, right?
Hmm.
They're playing a voxel world. They probably see some water, some grass, and some trees, right? First thing they do, punch some grass, right? Obviously, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just walking around. Uh, the next obvious progression would either be to punch down a tree and be like, oh, wood. Or possibly, and again, because new player, do none of that, just walk around and die instantly, right? because night comes and they don't even have a first, even a dirt hovel to live in yet,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, that the new player experience has changed since we first played
Yeah.
now. So it wasn't as hard as being like, oh yeah, I have wood. Now what to do with it, right? You throw it
Yeah,
into
with
the
the
you put it into your crafting table.
mhm,
You put it in your crafting area in your inventory. You get planks of wood, but then what do you do with that, right?
yeah. It's a lot more
Even
user
back in the
friendly
day,
now because they have
recipe
the
book.
recipe book. Yeah, when you get a certain item, it'll tell you what that item can make, and as you it helps guide you to what you can do. And people already had it pretty much, even back when it didn't exist. They just Google the answers.
I mean, that's true, Googling the answers,
Yeah.
but we're talking about a fresh player, right?
Hmm.
Doesn't even know there's a wiki, doesn't even really know
Yeah.
much, right? So, assuming from that point of view, they'll probably, the whole appeal of doing it is to keep on trying and exploring more, right?
Hmm.
The whole idea of exploration is the main appeal. So, be it exploring the environment or exploring the crafting system, this is where the main appeal comes from, where you're discovering what's new and what's different,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I remember like back in the day that it was just like when you first played it, or at least when I first played it, just finding out what you can do with the same block was interesting, right?
Hmm.
Because you're like, okay, I've watched like obviously if you've watched a couple of YouTube videos, you're like, okay, I know that a pickaxe exists in this game. How the hell do I make it? And stubborn me did not want to Google it.
Hmm.
So I tried a bunch of different things, like with wooden planks, and I didn't know what to do. Then I got a stick. I was like, "This has to. This. I'm getting somewhere." Right? Like you just like this leads to something. Like vigorous tapping on keyboard. Like this is something.
Hmm.
Right? This is the exploration I think they wanted to inherently create. Right? Obviously this has changed over time, just because this is a very old game. Right now, the design principle is less about crafting exploration and more about physical exploration.
Yes.
And I don't even think exploration is the main gameplay loop now, right? Is or at least the main draw,
Hmm.
right? I think the main
I
draw
still
now.
think the main draw is still the exploration and the revamping of biomes. There's new things to always go see, but they do
Mm-hmm.
have a more mechanical focused appeal of the game now, instead of having again sort
Just
of,
wanted to.
yeah, just broad terms of go out there and find whatever's in the world. It now
Mm-hmm.
seems to be more like, okay, we're focusing and we're centralizing on, things that the player would do, not exploring, but at their base, giving more redstone functionality, adding more functionality to villagers so that they are easier to use and, control, and you can build a village, etc.
Mm-hmm. I think that's less about exploration, though, in my opinion, because people like I think that's more about what I was gonna lead into was the idea of building and creation,
Hmm.
right, in Minecraft, because anyone can go find a village and whatever, but to make it your village and with your villagers is a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea to explore to find the villagers is a gameplay loop in itself, because you want to meet them, probably trade with them if you
Hmm.
want to, right? Experience the village pillage update, right?
Yeah.
But then wanting to, it's gonna sound wrong, exploit the resources you can get from your villagers, eat the rich. No, but I'm just joking. But what I'm trying to say is just like you wanting to use the village mechanic to its utmost potential, right?
Yeah.
As well as just have a fun village, right? You would need to start building and creating what you want to do, what it to look like, and what you want it to do, right?
Hmm.
There are people who've made iron farms on with villagers, right? Who've rounded up an X amount of villagers, and then a small mob spawner to just create infinite amount of iron golems to create infinite iron.
Yeah.
So building and creation, I find, is not only separate from exploration, but a bit separated from each other, right? So let me go into it a bit. So the idea of the appeal of building, right, is the art of building, let's say, a cathedral, right?
Hmm.
Like everyone knows those great build maps where
Yeah.
they've built the entire Sistine Chapel to
Yeah, it's
scale,
like, oh, this guy
right?
built the entirety of Westeros in Minecraft, you know?
hmm I remember watching, and I'm not sure if I should probably have kept up with this person, but there was a video online about a 2 scale model of the Starship Enterprise,
Oh, cool.
right? And that is massive, massive, massive work, but they were doing it for free,
hmm
right? So what is the appeal? I think the appeal was just to have it. It was the idea of the new model train, if you can catch my drift here,
Yeah,
right?
I kind of see where you're coming from.
Right. The idea of making something yourself with all of the tools available, and then just being like, hey, this Starship Enterprise in Minecraft is mine. I created with
hmm
all the blood, sweat, and tears, and now I can show it off to the world in its glory, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a major appeal of Minecraft, especially now, right?
hmm
With people doing with the resurgence of Minecraft YouTube, there's been a bunch of people being like, "Hey, this is my house. This is what I do," right?
Check my crib.
Look, check my crib,
Yeah.
yo. Like that's a way to quote unquote flex on them kids. But yeah, no, like building is a major aspect because it gives you self investment to what you want to be doing in Minecraft. As we were talking about, there is little to no direction to do much, right?
hmm
So the biggest part is making something. Usually, the most investment a person has in Minecraft is the base that they make, right?
Absolutely.
Right. That's why it's always so hurtful and so annoying and so sad when a creeper explodes,
Oh, God.
right? Which I personally think are a great design enemy.
They are well designed
Be-
for the Enderman too. Anything that can kind of mess with your build, even zombies breaking
mhm.
down doors, environmental manipulation for a game where it's all about the player manipulating the environment is a very sound enemy design.
I think specifically the creeper though is probably the best designed out of all of them,
hmm
just because it is a not only a silent killer, right?
Yeah.
It makes no sound when it approaches you, and because of its massive explosion, it sort of, especially early on, like teaches you to be aware of enemies, right?
hmm
Teaches you that. It teaches you when you first make your first house, sometimes you have to start again,
Yeah.
right? Like the amount of times early on when you're playing and your house gets blown up by a creeper and you're like, darn it, now I have to rebuild. It teaches you that idea that sometimes it's better to just rebuild and do it
Mm.
again, right? Which I think is kind of useful, especially for a game like this. Now, final point I want to make about before since we got sidetracked.
Mhm.
Final point I want to talk about for Minecraft's gameplay loop is creation, right? And this is wholly different from what I'm talking about with building, right?
Mhm.
Because building I want it to be is more akin to the game itself, right?
Yes.
Inside game, inside a world, right? But creation, what I want to talk about specifically, is more. I don't want to say primal. It's more outside of the game, right?
Mhm.
A little bit outside of the game. So, creation in a sense, I want to be talking about like redstone, not only redstone contraptions. I want also to be talking about mods, right?
Yeah.
And then the obvious YouTube scene and what it's probably done to the game itself, right? But let's leave the YouTube scene for the last
Yeah.
point here. But I want to talk about redstone contraptions, right?
Mhm.
The redstone building community has been outstanding,
They do
right?
insane stuff like that. One time they made a phone working in Minecraft and they could call
Yep,
and had a display on it.
yep.
Jesus.
These people are amazing. They are programmers programming in a game,
Mhm.
and that is insane. Don't get me wrong. With the addition of command blocks, makes
Yeah, command
any
blocks
of this
can
possible.
do a lot for it. But
Yeah,
like the people
it
building like
basically
calculators out of just the pistons and
and
observers and
signals.
stuff like that,
Yeah,
it's crazy. Just using the redstone signals as ones and zeros in a computer.
it is ones and zeros
Yeah.
really on and off. It's it literally is just building a Turing machine.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong, building inside of it, but creation of a whole new thing and a whole new world of ideas that you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not just like Redstone. Let's talk about the command blocks as we just brought up earlier, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how many game modes have been created in Minecraft just around like with the facilitation of
Well,
Minecraft
look at
with command blocks?
what is it? Is it Highcraft Hightail? Is that what it's called? That originally
I don't
sta-
quite remember.
that originally started as a Minecraft server. It was by
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hypixel, and it was just all mini games, and that's the kind of creativity that they want to bring to Hightail, is that sort of
Yeah,
freedom of command blocks and all that, and instant modding and stuff.
yeah. Like Spilf, right? What
Mm-hmm.
was it? Or is it Spleef? Spleef?
Spoof.
Is it Spleef? I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
been a while. I
it's
haven't.
Spleef. I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah,
don't
like
remember what
Spleef
that stands
was.
for though.
I don't remember. I remember seeing one video online and being
I
like,
remember
"Cool,
Spleef,
never
Bed
gonna play it."
Wars, TNT Hot Potato,
Yeah,
um,
like,
uh, the original Battle Royale, Minecraft
like
Hunger
people have
Games.
been. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, but like people have been creating game modes for Minecraft for so long.
Mm,
It's quite interesting and quite and I assume that like the people who create the game modes are doing this for the fun of it, as well
absolutely.
as the people playing it just love that, right? They just
Hmm.
want to play something different because like Minecraft is in itself fucking infinite in terms of possibility,
Yes.
and this type of creation like in my opinion, this quote unquote content creation sounds like I'm talking about YouTube, but like this content creation is in itself is wholly new, and very few games are like this, right? The only game I can think of off the top of my head who are like this was Little Big Planet,
Hmm.
right? And Little Big Planet, that's a game just designed to be creation
Hmm.
and exploration and
I
imagination.
actually find that Minecraft just beats the hell out of Little Big Planet in terms of this. Like,
I I will argue that with you a bit,
a bit.
just
Little Big
because.
Planet was designed to do that, but it's still very limited. Minecraft, from what I've seen over all these years, has just, especially having more control over like all three
Mm,
dimensions and all that. Yeah, there's just a lot of insane stuff that people have done. Like I remember Seth Bling made a Minecraft emulator in Minecraft.
yes, that was fun.
There's just a lot more creative stuff that you can do in Minecraft because you have
I
a lot more
I
control over
find
the commands.
I, that's true. That's true. But I find that like sorry for bringing up Little Big Planet in this Minecraft discussion, but
Hmm.
Little Big Planet is a tool
Well, now this is just going
that
to
was
become a
used really
dreams
well.
discussion. Or
Oh yeah, let's just talk about
Didn't
dreams.
Microsoft do their own as well, where they had Conkers as the mascot for some reason?
I don't know why they decided that,
I
to be
don't remember what
honest,
that was
but
called. That was weird.
I don't remember. But I find that Little Big Planet had its tools and it was designed for it and it worked well in its space.
Hmm.
Minecraft was not even designed for it, and then over time, as people were using server commands, we're like, "F it,
Yeah,
let them have an easier way to construct it," right?
yeah,
Which I think is great, but that's differences in breed and differences in kind, in my opinion.
yeah. Hmm.
We're comparing an apple who slowly shifted to a fuchsia apple, right?
I don't
Basically,
know if that's how apples work, but sure.
it's
It's an apple that slowly became a pear.
okay. I was talking. Obviously, genus. We're getting off
I don't
topic.
know. I kind of want to talk about apples now. Thank you.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no. But yeah, no. Creation, right?
Hmm.
So, like the creation of these game modes free, are really sick,
Incredible.
right?
Yeah.
Incredible, right? And then we got like the Redstone builders who've made calculators, who've made a YouTube
Yeah. Hmm.
browser in Minecraft with Redstone command blocks, and that is both hilarious and great.
Yeah. Well, again,
And
these
then
aren't
like,
dedicated players though. These are people who specialize in this alone. But for a more casual crowd, I think again the endless kind of creativity of it can be overwhelming, especially again undirected. You know,
I mean,
like
yes,
I
it's the
myself
question to get a.
am I do art, right, and but I
Mhm.
don't really enjoy building in Minecraft. Not I enjoy building in Minecraft more in like survival single player than I do in creative
Hmm.
because I can dedicate my time to doing huge builds, but I, as a casual player, rather not, and it gets overwhelming and too tedious. But at the same time, right, I
Hmm.
enjoy doing bigger projects than I do in creative mode in survival, mostly because of that like risk reward and feeling of accomplishment. Because in creative mode, you can just
Yeah.
drag and drop the blocks at the creative menu. In survival, you have to go forge for them. You have to go fend for your life to get these things, right? It makes
Yeah.
the build a lot more substantial in survival, in my opinion.
Satisfying,
Hmm.
essentially, right?
Yes, that's
Because you
that's
had
why I
to.
can't play like the long bouts of creative mode. I'll do like a creative session for a day and then just give up on it and leave it because.
I find that I just use creative sessions to just plan for
Mm-hmm.
my survival sessions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? To be like, okay, I'm working with this much space in my survival world.
Yeah.
I want to build a house like this. Let's just plan out how it will look like and what it'll look and what I will be doing with it beforehand, and then build it in survival.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what I find I do with creative. But I find that the differences between a casual player and then a person who makes game modes and contraptions and all this other like really interesting stuff in Minecraft is the same difference of players and developers in any other game,
Mm-hmm.
right? In every game system, right? Any game
Yeah.
that's ever been developed or created, right? Players will enjoy the content no matter what. That sounds no, that's not true. Players will enjoy good content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Content that they specifically want, but not all players will want to develop, right? And not all developers necessarily like the game modes they create, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or not every single game mode, right? So I find that the idea of just like, yeah, sure, there's a creative, like there's this creation aspect and the endless possibility, but maybe the reason why it's so shallow and for a lot of people is because not everyone wants to take part in this, in my opinion,
That is
basically becoming
true.
a programmer for the
But
game,
again,
right?
we have to look at both perspectives. Is just all I was getting at, really. Because you were going
Yeah,
off
yeah,
for about 15 minutes on just developers using this. And
that's true.
forgetting about
That's
the
true.
little
I'm
guy
sorry.
who is the more popular player. And in some regards, the popularity amongst the sort of more casual base is because of those developers, right? The
Hmm.
developers fuel the ability for the casual players to play the game. They give them something
Yes,
to watch, they give them something to do. It
content
really
drive.
adds to the longevity of the game and has really been how Minecraft has lasted so long.
Hmm. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Because like, sure that people when we say I'm pretty sure we're talking when we say developers, we're not talking about necessarily the Minecraft developers. We're talking about people who develop
Yes.
game modes, etc., servers,
Hmm.
all these other
Servers,
stuff, right?
mods, game
Yeah,
modes.
especially mods,
The
right?
modding community in Minecraft is just incredible. The stuff that they've made is even more impressive than the game modes, and I don't know how that's possible.
I think the reason why that's possible is because they've actually created like not okay. That sounds mean, but in the sense of that they've literally created a new indexed item, right?
Hmm.
Whilst people who've created like game modes early on, the very few modding tools existed when game modes were really popular,
Yeah.
right? Now that
Very few
modding
modding
tools are
tools
more
still
readily
exist.
available,
Very few modding tools still exist for this game, to be quite honest.
but the understanding of them have grown,
Yes.
right? And the readily available information has grown as well,
Hmm.
right? So what back when like game modes and like gameplay servers existed and were super popular, those were just hey, this is the most popular this was easier to make than making a whole new mod. Now the mods are a lot more quote unquote easier and accessible. Mods are more popular than the gameplay servers,
Hmm.
right? That's not a hot take, is it?
No.
Right? So I find that mods are inherently more appealing just because they can be so much more game changing
Hmm.
and than just a gameplay mode because a gameplay server is usually a single instance of a game mode, and then once you've determined a winner and a loser and losers, then you're done. It's restart, go back to the main server hub, and then like choose a new game mode, right?
Yeah.
You're basically playing like an endless arcade mode. Whilst when you're playing in a modded environment rather, you've basically got Minecraft Plus, the you can either have it be more combat oriented with some of the combat mods, right?
Hmm.
Or what I personally enjoy, the more industrial mods, right? The mods that give Minecraft the same. It's the same Minecraft, except now you have the added, what's the word, industrialization and more production line
Yes, we're
creation,
talking about tech.
right? I am so talking about Tekkit right
Oh
now.
god, I love that. I was
It
actually more of
is.
a Hexit player.
I can understand that. I can understand that. I did like the magic system in Hexen.
Hmm.
It's great. But like you have with mods, right?
Yeah.
Right. Back to it. Like it's basically just you have the same game. You have the same first appeal of Minecraft, which was exploration.
Hmm.
Now you have something to. Now you have mods to quote unquote either tame the wilds
Hmm.
or to make the wilds more wild.
Yeah, like I said, the
Right.
base Minecraft kind of lacks that dedication, and I find a lot of mods will, or not dedication, direction is what I meant, and a lot of mods are kind of the fix for that. They will give you the direction you are looking for, something to do, a goal to achieve. That's what a lot of those like survival world mods. If you ever played, I don't remember what they're called, but they give you like a little quest book, and then you got to go down them. Those are some of the most popular modded packs right now
Yeah.
because they do give you an
There's
end goal
objectives
to
and
work
goals.
towards.
Yeah. And then you can still do your creative aspect within those constraints, but
Yes.
they're like it's basically the idea of have it like to compare this to another game, like Breath of the Wild, right?
Hmm.
You have the main objective to defeat Ganon, and that's just there, right?
Yeah.
When you start off the game, like sure it seems a bit urgent when you first start off, right? But then you realize like 4 or 5 hours in, like that's gonna be a while. Let's have
Hmm.
some fun, right? Then you go shield surfing over a mountain. You just go that. Like it's something to direct you. Sure,
Hmm.
there's an end point that you know that exists, and you have an idea where it's gonna be. But while you know there's an end point, what really matters is the journey. That's what you're trying to say. Like because there's now that Ganon to defeat in
Hmm.
Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
The objectives to get there and what you do in between that time is where you can both have fun, but also direct yourself towards going to,
Absolutely.
right?
Uh, Technically, there is sort of the Ganon of Minecraft that would be the end dragon, but in actuality, it's not even remotely close. The
Mm-hmm.
push to drive you there is not even like how it is with Ganon, where it's there, but it's very little. This is just non-existent drive to send you there. Most people won't know about it unless they figure out how to do like the Eye of Ender. And
Or just know about it
yeah,
exist,
yeah.
right?
And
As a kid, once again, right?
yeah.
I'm pretty sure as a kids we didn't know it existed,
Mhm.
and we only find out through YouTube, and we're like, eh, you know,
Yeah, but
what's the
the
point?
the Ender Dragon itself in that whole fight is also very tame and boring. It's not a very extravagant experience. I find
Mm-hmm.
the Wither more entertaining and especially a lot more useful to
Challenge.
fight. Yeah, it's
Oh,
challenging,
useful.
but there's also a lot of utility. Getting Wither Roses, getting beacons from it. The Ender Dragon
Mm-hmm.
lacks any sort of purpose other than to go to the outer lands of the end, but you can actually just
Yeah,
fly there or like build out blocks there anyways.
just f the Ender Dragon,
Yeah,
just go
pretty
there
much.
instead.
There's no incentive to really fight the Ender Dragon. Lingering potions kind of stink. Uh,
I think
it's very
you
mismanaged.
still have to fight the Ender Dragon though. I believe, right?
For what?
You still have to fight the Ender Dragon if you even if you go straight to the Outlands, right?
Yeah, the Ender Dragon will still be there.
No, you still have to fight it because that's the end portal to get back.
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so in the end, like there is some useful in-game content past the dragon, but the dragon
Hmm.
is your only way back home. You can almost say it's Minecraft away home. But
God. Uh, the progression of Minecraft, again, I always felt was kind of inferior to something like Terraria, where Terraria is maybe a little too linear in going from big boss battle to big boss battle, and the exploration is sort of the grind time in between that. But it is a
yeah,
very fun game mechanically. Um, but Minecraft again lacks that scaling properly, like Terraria does, and that incentive to go do these things. In Minecraft, I find that you never really your power level scales, but nothing around you does. Is one of my major problems with it. I'll have my diamond tier armor, but then none of the creatures have, risen with me, and I don't feel much of a challenge anymore. And especially with the introduction, actually, scratch that, with the introduction of the new netherite armor, they actually did something I did not expect. The piglins in the Piglet Bastion are extremely difficult mobs, and they
Mm,
make the purpose of having a new tier of armor actually, a purposeful one.
yeah. I actually, we were saying that there is no progression, but I found that the progression, although it was not necessarily good,
Mm-hmm.
was the idea that the overworld mobs are iron, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Diamond is where diamond level equipment is where you go to the Nether for, right? Where
I
you go to the end
No,
for.
I can't
That's
agree with that. I
I
usually
I
play the game with just iron armor and that's it. And you don't need the
I
diamond
that
armor.
I'm saying that it was wasted. But I think that was what they were going
That
for,
is what they
right?
were kind of going for. I can agree with you on that. I again don't think that they kind of met that
I don't think
level.
they succeeded,
Yes, that's
but
yeah.
I'm just saying like that was the
Intent.
quote unquote design, and I feel like it was the design intention, right?
Mm,
Where going to hell was where you needed the strongest of the strong, right?
mm,
Obviously, that makes
yeah.
sense. I feel right, but it's just that most
Are
enemies
not challenging.
didn't do well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only enemy I ever have challenge with are blazes.
Absolutely. The blazes, just because they spawn in such large numbers and they can
Yeah,
see and fire at you from such a large distance and you can't even tell that they're there.
yeah. And I think if there were more enemies like
Hmm.
a blaze, sorry, like the blazes in in the Nether, then it would be like soup. Then there'd be the incentive to be like, I need diamond armor. I need them to be fire
Yeah.
enchanted. I need to get all this other stuff to prepare for the Nether,
Hmm.
right? And that seems like the major end game, one of the major end game steps, right?
Yeah.
Going to the Nether now is just sort of like going to Florida. It's just
Well,
Florida.
I mean, it's just as terrible as Florida, yes.
There's, Disneyland is just the Nether fortresses. Okay.
You got to
Okay.
get to
Sorry.
Disneyland for the fires, the swamp fires, and all that.
Yeah. Have you seen the new lava walking mob? That's just the
Oh, the
alligators.
stride. Are you telling me Florida? What are they called? Floridians ride on alligators to get around? Is this what you're telling me?
First of all, if that was true, I think Florida is 100 times better than I've been giving it.
Oh man.
Like Florida would be less of a less of a meme and be more of a, well, I guess a meme
Yeah,
still,
it's still a
but
meme.
a better viewed meme if Floridians were to just wrangle alligators and then ride them like chariots.
I'm sure
Okay,
you could find a police report about that happening.
I think I have.
Oh Jesus.
This is obviously going to get cut. I feel.
Oh no, I want to keep this in. Screw
You want
Florida.
to keep, okay?
Screw
So
Florida.
okay,
um,
sorry.
okay,
But yeah.
one of the major things is multiplayer versus single player experience. And when I say multiplayer, I not only mean a community experience. Because I'd
Hmm.
count someone playing YouTube single player as a multiplayer experience still, because they have that incentive to keep going because they have a community and watchers, encouraging them and
Yeah.
wanting to see more. In single player, I never really find that, going above and beyond is really worth it because there's no benefit to investing my time. Yeah, I built
Hmm.
an elaborate sort of locking safe system in single player, but no one else was around to see it, so I just kind of got bored after I built it and ditched that single player world because there wasn't
Hmm.
anyone to kind of collaborate and play off this sort of design I had built. They played the Legend of Zelda jingle and everything, man. It was a waste.
It was a waste.
Waste.
But yeah, no. Just for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's label out the normal, like, once again, player progression.
Yeah.
Like, single player is start off, get wooden tools,
Mm-hmm.
get stone tools, get iron tools, go to hell, come back from hell. And, like, obviously when you come back from hell, you've been farming a bit, right?
Yeah.
Then well, gosh, I forgot. Okay, I want to repeat this. Sorry. The progression is Get wood tools, get iron tools, get diamond tools, go to hell, come back from hell, find the end, go to the end, do the end. Right, just
Mm-hmm.
like that's the main progression, right? Where you're supposed to slowly upgrade to diamond, then go to hell, then come back from hell, and then
Mm-hmm.
just find your way to the end, right?
Yeah.
Once again, we've said before that there's no way to know you're supposed to go to the end if you have no
Yeah.
idea, right?
Labeling any form of progression after iron, I think it's kind of foolhardy because you can by when you get iron, you can go to the nether. You don't need diamond, and when you have wood, you can still go to the end and all that. Like it's a little too free
That
form with again the progression for there to be any sort of semblance of structure and order and what to do.
mm-hmm. I think that's fine
Hmm.
to have the lack of structure. I just think that the progression should be more known,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Because like sure the end fight is boring as all hell, but
Yeah.
it should still be the idea of just hey, this is the end point.
Hmm.
We're gonna go kill God, right? That type of like JRPG experience where you're gonna kill God,
Yeah.
right? Just it's just that you don't know in Minecraft that you have to go kill the dragon, right?
Hmm.
It's just there, right?
Yeah.
It happens, but I like the idea that you can technically, at least in this metaphor, go kill the final boss at any time at any progression point, right? As long
Yeah.
as you're experienced enough and you know what to do, right? Because that makes speedrunning super quick
Hmm.
of the game, right? But the fact that you don't really know about the end dragon or the
Yeah.
end unless someone has told you or you've somehow stumbled upon it by exploring a lot, right?
Hmm.
Or you just watch it on a YouTube video, right?
Hmm.
Like finding the end dragon and knowing that's even the end objective that even ends the game, right?
Yeah, you get the little
Is
poem or whatever it is at the end.
yeah, you don't know it until either someone's told you, you've watched a video on it, or the unlikely case where you actually discover it yourself. And
Yeah.
even then, how many permutations would it take for you to discover its existence, right?
Hmm.
Right, you'd have to first kill an Enderman and then get a blaze, right?
Yeah.
So
I,
you've
th I
already had
think
to
with
go
the
to hell.
inclusion of the achievements and advancement system that we didn't have when we started playing Minecraft has really kind of aided, new users in finding out, oh, hey, I can go to the end. And I don't think it says anything about how to exactly get there, but it just tells you it's a thing, go look for it.
That's true, actually, because back in the day there were no progression.
Hmm.
There wasn't even an achievement system, right?
Nope.
So you didn't even know that you know the end existed. I do remember that when the update with achievements came in, I saw the achievement for the end, like the question mark
Yeah.
achievement, like oh, I guess there is an end, right?
I
Like
think the
I
end
guess.
specifically could benefit from what they're doing with 1.16, how they're doing the Nether
Mhm.
update. I think the end could
Yeah.
have a huge overhaul. They tried when they added in the Outer Lands and the Shulkers and all that, but
Hmm.
still was not enough new content and areas to really justify
I
making
think
a
if
week.
question
Hmm.
just a little bit off topic from the single player multiplayer progression. Do you think that either the area of the end should be changed, or rather three things. So the area changed, right?
Hmm.
More stuff in the area, a better boss, right? Or a better pathway to the end.
I'm gonna
Which
go
do you
with
think is
all
more
three.
okay? Obviously, all three is possible,
Optimal.
but not necessarily. This is a hypothetical, of
Hmm.
course. What do you think is the most important out of the three?
In a game that focuses about exploration as much as Minecraft does,
Mm-hmm.
having more areas to go to would be, most people's first choice. But for me, it's not mine. I think Minecraft does, again, lack from difficulty in challenge and engagement. And I think having a better reason to go fight the End Dragon and it being harder would be the optimal choice.
Okay. My ranking would be pathway boss area, right?
Hmm.
I find that the end should be left fairly barren, right?
Mm.
in my opinion. Just because the end sure is the end game area,
Yeah.
but with the recent updates, right, I think the overworld is far more exciting, and I
The
guess
overworld
hell,
absolutely is. There's just so much more to it.
right? There's so much more to do,
And
right?
hopefully
And
1.17 is the cave update finally.
yeah, like there's more things and more exciting things to do on the overworld,
Mm.
and the end is just while the final goal, right? Get like in back to the Breath of the Wild example, you have your small place to fight.
Yeah.
You fight Ganon, and then you go back looking for Korok seeds, right? That's the idea, right? That's
Yeah.
how I feel, right? You shouldn't linger on the end too much. Should be the goal,
Mm-hmm.
but the end should be like I don't think it needs to have that much content as the overworld, right?
Yeah.
And then there's obviously the design ethos of make things that your players will most likely want to do, right?
Yeah.
Where you want to create content that 90%, if not more, 100% of the players will you do. So the overworld is the main point of focus,
Yeah.
right? Overworld and Nether, because not many people go to the end, right?
No.
How many times have you gone to the end?
Even though there is, again, there are some incentives like the Elytra and the shulker boxes, by the point you're
Hmm.
usually going to the end it's too late for those for me, to be honest. So I just kind of stay in the
Hmm.
overworld. I rarely even go to the Nether, honestly, except to maybe get Wither skulls to fight the Withers, so I can get a beacon going.
So the answer is
It's a big fat
zero.
no, yeah.
It's in the big fat no. I've only been there. I can count on two hands, right?
Same for me.
Right? Like that's that's
I've
that's
probably had
that's
over a couple
how
hundred Minecraft worlds, single player and modded, and I've only been to the end maybe 10 times at most.
right? Exactly. Like the end. Sure, cool. Let's kill the end dragon. There's not much incentive to do so,
Mm,
right? As we're saying, and I don't think that adding more stuff to the end is gonna do it, right? Maybe adding more craftability stuff to
yeah,
it, maybe that's a possibility to incentivize you to go into the end. But even then, right? The most of the content that players want and desire exists on the overworld.
yeah,
So should they focus on the overworld more or the end? I think they should focus on the overworld more. And while the end exists as a way to quote unquote beat the game, right?
hmm
It's more of an achievement get rather than a something you dedicate your time to, right?
yeah. Well, you
Because
played
like,
Borderlands 3, right? I have an odd and little anecdote here. The end is like the vaults in Borderlands 3. The
oh my
inside is
god,
just full of guns and stuff you don't really need by the point you get there. And the journey there was just so long and arduous. Is why did you even bother at that point?
where were we?
Uh,
So we were talking about
we were talking about multiplayer versus single player experience, and then we got sidetracked shit talking the end.
yeah, that's something I feel we should cut, but you're probably leaving in. So
Yeah.
let's just let's just keep on moving. So let's just talk about single player and multiplayer here.
Mm,
I find that single player incentivization is one thing, but the very addition of another person changes the gameplay
yes.
wholly entirely, right?
hmm
Because, for example, TNT.
Oh
Who
my
really
god.
made TNT? Who really used TNT in single player?
No,
The
you
only
use it to
reason why you use
troll, and that's it.
exactly you use it for TNT cannons,
hmm
and that's it, right? Like TNT is a griefing tool for multiplayer,
Yeah.
whilst in single player, at most you use it to mine, right?
Yeah.
And even then, that's like not even the best way to use TNT,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, using TNT to mine has improved because of 1.15, making TNT not break, 70% of the blocks around it.
That's true. That's true.
Instead, it actually drops them all instead of you losing some, so it's a lot more efficient
That's
now.
true, but it's still. I doubt that many people still
Yeah.
would do that, because
I
there's
don't,
still
I know about that and I don't even use it.
yeah, exactly, right. Like there are mechanics and gameplay features in Minecraft that exist
Mhm.
that don't really feel
Yeah,
right in
I
single
find
player.
that a lot of things in Minecraft. So a lot of people, there's an analogy, and kind of it's a pool essentially of content, and you can deepen the
Yeah.
pool and you can widen the pool. In Minecraft, with a lot of its updates, widens the pool. A good update, like 1.16 is turning out to be, deepens and widens. Because there's not
Yeah.
only more to see and do, but the things that you can now do are far greater than before. There's a sense of depth, like with all the redstone changes that they've just made. It really adds a lot more to the game.
You're right. Like, what's it called? Uh, so it deepens widens the pool, right?
Hmm.
So what we're talking about, Minecraft itself, it's just like if we're talking about the pool of content Minecraft has, it is an incredibly wide pool, right?
Yes, incredibly.
And it gets very wide, and it gets wider with each player added. I find, right? It,
Hmm.
it stops to a point, right? Because not every player, like every player that's there, is essentially extra content to grind out,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Because each person is basically a new mob, right?
pretty
They're
much.
either
And they
hostile
have
or friendly.
different interactions in the world. Like, I love
Yeah.
watching Hermitcraft. I watch
Yeah.
Etho, Exuma, oh god, Mumbo Jumbo, Iskal, Green, all of them play. And I just love that, especially because seeing them interact on the server and then building things, the shop district, all that, their unspoken rules, and they do their little mini games and stuff. Like a couple
Mm-hmm.
years ago, they did Civil War on their server where they picked teams and just started combating each other out of nowhere. It was great. But yeah,
Like,
with
see,
multiplayer, there's just so much more you can do because you're again interacting with another human being. In single player, you could never have those experiences.
mm-hmm. Because there's inherently more fun when there's friends involved, right? It's
Yes.
the exact reason why, what's it called? Don't Starve has a multiplayer function, right?
Oh my
Don't
God,
Starve together,
I love Don't Starve Together, man.
mm-hmm. Right? Like it's incredibly more fun in a survival game and an exploration game
Hmm.
to have co-op,
Yes.
right? Or at least multiplayer, right? Because let's be honest, Minecraft is not necessarily co-op,
No.
right? So I think. Do you think the intended experience of Minecraft is single player or is it multiplayer? To refocus here.
It feels honestly that is such a weird kind of ask because it feels multiplayer because it feels like they use multiplayer to fill in the void of them not working on things dedicated solely for single player experience. But with that being said, it feels like the target is single player, but they just don't flesh it out for single player, is my gist that I get.
I like to think that the intended goal
Mm.
is to have a okay single player experience, but that okay single player experience just so happens to create really fun and excellent multiplayer experiences,
Yeah.
right? So, like, a lot of this content is great single player, don't get me wrong, the new Nether update,
Hmm.
the Village and Pillage, but that just because the multiplayer
Hmm.
gets a hand in of every single player expansion,
Multiplayer will
right?
always, again, going back to the pool, it will always, it pretty much doubles the depth of anything, really,
Mm-hmm.
just automatically.
Even with just one player,
Yeah.
with one good friend, a multiplayer server in a private realm or something
Mm.
like that, you have tons more fun, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's just night and day playing by yourself is me just turning on Spotify, listening to some music, and just zoning out and playing the game.
Yeah.
Me playing on multiplayer is me building an underground base, tunneling to a new mountain, and then creating a small fortress by myself.
Hmm.
Well, sure, that doesn't sound exciting, but it's because of the fact that I want to hide where I live from my friends
Oh, God.
adds a new depth of what I want to be
Yeah,
doing
that
in
reminds
my
me
game.
of like a multiplayer server we had back in high school. We had like this big mountain ridge, and like there were two
Yeah.
factions on either. There was like a faction on either side of the mountain, and my friends had built like a bunker on their side, and I built like a big ass like watchtower on ours. It was really fun
Mm.
to just be like, okay, the other people are coming over the mountain ridge. We will stop them, get in a call, and negotiate with them.
Oh my
They're on
gosh.
our turf.
I
It was fun.
I'm currently in a Minecraft server right now. I wish there was more conflict. I'm just secretly causing like stuff in
You
the air.
always cause chaos.
I want like it's not okay. I shouldn't be doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like I'm just taking stuff that people don't notice, right?
Yeah.
Like we already have a iron farm. I take like a quarter of a stack.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's gonna notice that, right? But I feel like I need to incite something in order to have like a good
Mm-hmm.
like to enforce more fun because everyone's super co-op right now in my
Yeah.
server, right? And that's fun,
Mm-hmm.
but is co-op what everyone really wants to be doing right now, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the question of like everyone's to the point where they're strong in the game. Like everyone has diamond armor, almost everyone has,
Mm-hmm.
or at least almost everyone has diamond armor. Almost everyone's enchanted. We've been to the end. Some of us have elytras now,
Yeah.
right? Is is the new content to grind no longer just creating a base? Is it just player combat or just player shenanigans?
When you have multiplayer, it really depends on the person and the server, but it does open up a lot more kind of avenues of gameplay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I,
because
so
we've
you
reached the
asked me
like.
earlier, does Minecraft prioritize single player or multiplayer? Again, I'm gonna have to say it does prioritize single player, even though multiplayer always gets like more out of whatever the single player features are. But do you
Mhm.
think that they should prioritize multiplayer more? Like, I really hate being in a Minecraft server and everyone is wearing enchanted diamond armor and they all look the same.
I think they've changed that a bit. They made it a bit better with capes, right? Or banners now. You can now
Well, yeah, you can
customize
do
a banner and
banners,
put it as
but
a cape.
can you put banners on capes?
I
I
believe
don't
so,
think
with the
so.
new loom. I might be speaking out of my butt,
I think you are
but
talking out your butt.
but that is a possible way to do it, right?
Hmm.
Skins make it a
Yeah, but
little bit
again, with
easier, but not
skins,
100.
you're covering that up with the armor is the thing. In
That's true. That's true.
Terraria, there are cosmetic armors as well as physical armors, and you get to customize and develop your character the way you want. Same thing goes in
Hmm.
Monster Hunter, and it's very nice, and that's a unique. Everyone's kind of character becomes their own unique thing by the end, versus
Hmm.
Minecraft where it's stifled. I posted once on the Minecraft because they do take again a lot from the community, you know, suggestions and all that. I posted one about having more dyed armor, like how leather armor can be dyed. Doing that for diamond, iron, all that
Hmm.
could really bring the game to life more in a multiplayer setting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that the weakest form of armor has more creativity to put on it
Yes,
than the highest
absolutely.
form.
And that again also limits the gameplay a bit. I've seen again, I played on multiplayer servers and I watch again like Hermitcraft, a lot of multiplayer servers. And the thing is though with that, you have to build around that limitation. The other armor is a very weak armor, and if you're doing a multiplayer game where it's like teams, you're not going to have someone with diamond tier armor on either side because then you can't tell the teams apart. You know,
Yeah,
you have to downscale your game based on
yeah.
having to deal with the leather armor being the only cosmetic kind of armor.
I mean that's probably really useful for those type of games, but in the sense that like self expression
Hmm.
is should the self expression be on the character or in the world? I find it should be better focused on the world.
I find it's definitely on the world and what you build, but you should still be able to differentiate yourself. I feel.
Mm. Okay. Well, I think we're out of time now. I think we've
Yeah,
discussed what we
I don't
wanted.
think the Pokemon one we went for like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and this one's like not even gonna break an hour, which I'm
I like.
fine with.
I find that we should never really break an hour again, just because that's way too long to discuss
There's
topics
just
like
a
this.
lot to talk about in Pokemon versus
I
Minecraft.
think we're both just extremely
Agitated.
the word is passionate. You're looking for.
I preferred my descriptor, but okay.
Sure. Let's agree to
Let's
disagree.
agree to disagree. All right, you want to sign off?
Yeah. We want to sign off. Okay, this has been
This
Raphael,
has been Ethan.
and this has been the Untitled Game Design Podcast.